Mario Kart is dangerous, but you're in luck because I'm here to keep you safe. Today we'll be examining all 48 tracks from the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass and ranking them based on their level of safety, so you can know what to look out for next time you're on the road. After each track, I'll take into account the frequency and severity of each safety infraction to come up with a rating out of 10. And at the end of the video, we'll compile all of the ratings to see which track is the safest and which one is the most dangerous. All right, let's kick it off with Paris Promenade. Now, just like last time, I'm looking for unsafe edges, speed boosts, and jumps. I'm looking for any sort of dangerous creatures, vehicles, objects, or environmental hazards. And right away, we got what appears to be some wood posing as dangerous creatures. I would have liked to have seen these safety cones on the other side, but that's okay. The good news about this track is that we've got some nicely paved roads and very few obstacles so far. The bad news is that it appears we are about to be launched towards the Eiffel Tower. Okay, we've seen this before. Luckily now we know that these are just made out of wood, so we've got nothing to worry. Overall though, Paris Promenade isn't super dangerous. 7.1 out of 10. Onto Toad Circuit, where right away we've got a giant toad balloon just kind of looming ominously over us, but it's not necessarily dangerous, I suppose. In fact, this whole track is actually very safe. We've got directional arrows and red and white markers on the sides of the roads. I like the use of these safety cones here, although we could have done without these speed boosts. Despite that, Toad Circuit gets a 9.8 out of 10. All right, starting out pretty strong so far. Let's see if we can keep it going with Choco Mountain. Right away, we've got some very dangerous edges here with no guardrails. And unlike these onlookers, believe it or not, I cannot fly. That is, unless we have one of these blue ramps here, but this is definitely not safe. Okay. Well, I do appreciate the warning about the boulders falling. I don't appreciate the fact that there are boulders falling. This is a dangerous track. 4.8 out of 10. Next up is Coconut Mall. And here's a free safety tip for you guys. Don't drive through malls. Luckily, it looks like this mall is closed for customers right now, so we don't have to worry about accidentally running anyone over, at least. That being said, there's lots of tight paths with pillars and other obstacles to avoid. Okay, it looks like the only way out of this mall is by jumping out of a window from the second story. Excuse me, sir, I'm not sure if you're aware, but you are parked in the middle of the road. Coconut Mall gets a 6.7 out of 10. Onto Tokyo Blur, and with these tour tracks, each of the 3 laps is slightly different, but I gotta say, after one lap, I didn't find a single safety infraction here. We might just be looking at the first ever perfect safety score. Okay, never mind. I do like the safety measures in place here heading onto the highway. They've even got a worker on duty here. Interesting he didn't mention the thwomps right around the corner though. After such a promising start, Tokyo Blur ends up with a 7.9 out of 10. Here we are at Shroom Ridge. The weather is perfect and we've got a beautiful view here. I would like to see some better precautions in place for some of these unsafe edges here, but overall we've got a good amount of guardrails and directional arrows. The main thing to look out for though is the other traffic on the road, but as long as you take your time and pass only when it's safe to do so, then it's really not a problem at all. Shroom Ridge gets an 8 out of 10. Next, we've got Sky Garden. Right away, I'm impressed with the structural integrity of these clouds, although I would like to see some more consistency with their edge safety overall. Besides that, we've got some precarious looking vine bridges and a couple dangerous jumps, which brings Sky Garden to a 6.1 out of 10. Okay, Ninja Hideaway. And right away, they are not making a good first impression, forcing me to immediately drive off of a rooftop. So this is an interesting building. We've got some unsafe edges on the left, and okay. Let me just write this down here. Giant shuriken death trap. Okay, yeah, I don't think the people who designed this place had safety on their minds. Excuse me, sir. I would like to speak to the designer of this trap. Okay. But yeah, after flying across a large gap and being propelled across more rooftops, I can confidently say that this is not a safe track. 3.9 out of 10. On to New York Minute, where we start off by immediately driving through a park. Now, I don't know what part of New York this is, but it is way less crowded than I expected it to be. Whoa, someone should probably look into that. Anyways, we've got some taxis just parked in the middle of the road here. Classic New York. And it looks like we're finishing up this track by driving through a fancy hotel to get to a garage. Okay, I thought this was common knowledge, but I'll say it just in case. Typically, you do those things in the reverse order. But despite that, this is still a pretty safe track overall. 7.2 out of 10. Next up, we've got SNES Mario Circuit 3. And I gotta say, I'm getting a lot of good vibes from this place already. First of all, we're completely walled in. We've got red and white safety markings and sand on the sides of the road to slow us down. Now, there are a few oil spills along the way, but great work by whoever put these traffic cones in front of them. We finish up with a mini speed boost here, but this is definitely one of the safest tracks in the game. 9.7 out of 10. Over to the hot and dry Kalimari Desert. While the heat is a concern and we've got a bunch of spiky cacti close to the road, the main source of danger here are definitely the trains. Clearly, there's a severe lack of safety measures in place around these tracks. I don't know what happened to the railroad crossing gates, but they're definitely needed here. And okay, we are driving on the train tracks. I don't think I have to explain why this is dangerous. Kalimari Desert gets a 5.4 out of 10. On to Waluigi Pinball. So in the last video, we covered a few Wario tracks, and those were not very safe to say the least. So my expectations aren't very high for his friend. And yeah, we are not off to a great start here. But honestly, besides a couple of unsafe speed boosts and jumps, it's surprisingly pretty safe here. We're nicely walled in and... oh. Okay, I take back everything I just said. Let's just carefully make our way through here and give Waluigi Pinball a 6.3 out of 10. Now we've got Sydney Sprint, and I've never been to Australia, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's not common to drive through buildings, then fly off a ramp over some water to reach the road. But hey, if you're Australian, let me know in the comments. Besides a couple more jumps like that, there's actually nothing super egregious going on here. I'm gonna give Sydney Sprint an 8.1 out of 10. Next up, we've got Snowland, where the roads are completely slicked over with ice, and I immediately don't feel safe. All right, slightly further ahead, we've got some cracked ice and penguins sliding around here. Not what I would consider the safest driving surface, but if you've got some good tires and can avoid falling through the ice, there are definitely more dangerous tracks out there. 6.5 out of 10. All right, on to Mushroom Gorge. And immediately I can tell where the name of this track came from. Although this doesn't really seem like a gorge to me, considering we're high up in the clouds. But anyways, we've got a classic dangerous combination of speed boosts and unsafe edges here. And yeah, I wouldn't consider this the safest driving conditions. Mushroom Gorge gets a 5.3 out of 10. Here we are now at Sky High Sundae. Let's see how safe it is here. Okay, not a great start. While this place is full of delicious looking treats, it's also full of sticky, narrow paths with no safety rails and large gaps we need to jump over. Despite wanting to consume everything here, I unfortunately have to give Sky High Sundae a 4.4 out of 10. Next up, we've got London Loop. London, of course, known for its rich history, its beautiful architecture, its assortment of shops and restaurants, its giant chain chomps. For the most part, though, this has been a very safe track. Maybe I can just scoot over here. Oh no. But yeah, as I was saying, for the most part, this has been a pretty safe, and the chain chomps are loose. I'm starting to think it's actually not safe here. 6.6 out of 10. On to Boo Lake now, where we've got a bunch of ghosts flying around, but honestly, I'm more concerned about the structural integrity of these wooden planks. The boos are just kind of minding their own business. Okay, I want to know whose genius idea it was to build this dock underwater. Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? Besides drowning. 4.9 out of 10. Here we are on top of Rock Mountain. Right away, we've got some very dangerous edges, and considering we are above the clouds, that is not a fall I would like to experience. So let's make our way through this dimly lit cave, and surely we could have come up with a better method for getting back to the ground safely here. Oh, okay. So while I do appreciate these very sturdy cones, unfortunately, this is the only path we can take. All right, let's just hope for the best. Rock Mountain is a very unsafe track. 4.7 out of 10. All right, we've made it to the beautiful Maple Treeway. Early on, this turn is looking a little dangerous here, and okay. Let me write this one down. Giant tree cannon. Okay, we've got some leaf piles. Gotta be careful with these. Who knows what kind of sharp objects could be under here. You know, these guys are actually pretty cute. 5.2 out of 10. Over to Germany now for Berlin Byways. Right away, we've got a little bit of traffic here, but nothing too dangerous so far. We've got some good usage of directional arrow signs and even some caution markers in front of these parked cars. We do have to drive through some unconventional places, and I think I may have taken a wrong turn somewhere. Okay, I know what you're thinking. These guys are definitely dangerous, but if you get up nice and close to them, they're actually quite friendly. This is a bit of an odd track to score, but I'm going to give Berlin Byways a 7 out of 10. Next up is the lovely Peach Gardens. Just a beautiful array of vibrant greens and colorful flowers and more giant chain chomps. Why does this keep happening? Okay, I don't know what they're feeding these plants, but this is getting a little out of control. Oh, all right, we've got a mole problem now. What is going on in this garden? Now, normally I'm against my car flying, but in this scenario, I think it's better than being on the ground. Peach Gardens gets a 5.8 out of 10. Onto the Winter Wonderland, Merry Mountain. This is obviously a very festive place, but how safe is it? Well, early on, we've got some dangerous snowy edges here that I almost just fell off of. And again, I'd like to see some sort of guardrails here. I'd even take more of those logs over there, just anything. Wrapping up this track with a steep snowy decline off of a ramp, I'm going to give Merry Mountain a 6.4 out of 10. Okay, we are in outer space for 3DS Rainbow Road. Even if we ignore the whole suffocating from lack of oxygen ordeal, this track is extremely dangerous. There's barely any guardrails, tons of windy, wavy roads. We've got speed boosts and jumps over gaps, just plenty of easy opportunities to fall off into the never-ending void of outer space. And oh yeah, there's also space chain chomps. 1 out of 10. Over to Amsterdam Drift now, and I've heard lovely things about this place. The people, the beautiful scenery, the big flying jumps over water, the mole infestation, the roads that take you underwater, the flower gardens filled with giant man-eating piranha plants. This doesn't sound very safe. 5.1 out of 10. Next up is Riverside Park, a very nice jungle-like setting. We've got some nice wide roads here and sturdy enough looking bridges, and what the f are these? Oh, great use of safety cones here, but yeah, we've got some little piranhas waddling around everywhere. Obviously, it's dangerous always having pedestrians walking around in the road, but it's better than them eating us. So Riverside Park gets a 6.9 out of 10. Onto the cold, snowy DK Summit, where it looks like we'll be taking a ski lift up to... Okay, not quite what I had in mind. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I don't think this place is meant for cars. The track is made up entirely of downhill, bumpy, snowy, slippery surfaces with some very dangerous edges. Okay, how are these snowboarders completely unfazed that a car is driving straight towards them right now? I'll give DK Summit a 4.8 out of 10. Okay, so we've made it to Yoshi's Island, and there is a lot going on here. First, we've got some interesting pedestrians. Oh, hello. I'm just gonna squeeze on through here. Oh, okay. And there are piranha plants. Let's just hope it gets better from here. Okay. All right, so we made it out of the water, but now we've got some very unsafe looking edges and whatever that is in the distance. Yeah, I don't think I've felt safe here for more than 1 second. I'm just gonna try to not crash back into the ground and give Yoshi's Island a 2.4 out of 10. Over to Bangkok Rush now, and early on, I'm not a fan of having to drive through this water, but at least we're not completely submerged, so that's good. Okay, side note, what are they feeding these vegetables? I'm not a food inspector, but are those safe to eat? Anyways, after getting a nice, dangerous view of the city, we'll make our way through this garage and... Wait, hold up. I thought I saw something. Yeah, they got milk from Moo Moo Meadows all the way out here? That's pretty cool. Anyways... Next, we've got DS Mario Circuit, and I have high hopes for this one since we've had pretty good luck with the other Mario circuits. Okay, I don't know what it is with these tracks and their rampant jaywalking problems, but they really need to get that under control. Anyways, we've got some good red and white safety markings, and what is going on here? Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there. This is not safe. Oh, looks like someone's taking a little nappy poo over here. But it's a good thing you're not stomping around on the road. Ah, he's stomping! 6.6 out of 10. All right, back for another Waluigi track with Waluigi Stadium. And I am not getting a great first impression here. In my records of good safety protocols, I don't believe I have giant ramps leading through spinning fireball circles in there, but I'll have to double check that. You know, as I'm going through this track, I can definitely see why Waluigi and Wario are such good friends. Waluigi Stadium gets a 4.3 out of 10. Here we are now at Singapore Speedway. The city is looking alive with a bunch of bright, vibrant colors and... Oh, come on, not one of these. All right, let's see what's going on up here. Looks like we got some unsafe edges and some speed boosts. Yeah, this track is not off to a great start. Again, this place is beautiful, but they really have to cut down on their obsession with sending cars flying all over the place. Singapore Speedway is a 6 out of 10. On to Athens Dash, where early on we've got a lovely view of the water in the distance, while jumping off a dangerous ramp onto some precarious stone pillars. Now let's just fly off these stairs and, oh, okay. I feel like these caution fences maybe should have been placed before dropping in here, but let's continue on. Okay, it appears to me that Athens has a strange fascination with launching cars off of cliffs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my spine checked after this. And there are boulders here. This is not a very safe track. 5 out of 10. All right, we are in the middle of the ocean now on Daisy Cruiser. I don't think I have to tell you all to not drive your car onto cruise ships, but I figured I'd mention it just to be sure. Okay, I'm not sure why everyone seems to be unfazed by their tables sliding around everywhere, but this is not safe. But you know what else isn't safe? Driving through an underwater aquarium. I'm gonna give Daisy Cruiser a 5.6 out of 10. We've got a full moon here on Moonview Highway. I'm not sure what this grate is supposed to be accomplishing, but I'd like to see some guardrails here instead. Normally on this kind of track with lots of other cars, I'd just take my time and drive a little slower, but they basically force you to speed here. Oh yeah, there's also bombs. 5.5 out of 10. Okay, so I have managed to shrink myself and make my way inside this bathroom for Squeaky Clean Sprint. Anyways, let's immediately try not to drown in this sink here. Now, a little bit further ahead, let's hold our breath again. And it looks like we've got some toothbrushes in the tub. That's a sign of danger right there, if I've ever seen one. Let's finish up the track by flying over a giant toilet, and I'll give Squeaky Clean Sprint a 5.2 out of 10. Next up, we've got Los Angeles Laps, where we start off by driving on a pier and then a beach. So as someone who is pretty familiar with Los Angeles, the lack of other cars is very unsettling. It makes me feel like I'm in some kind of post-apocalyptic bizarro Los Angeles. Anyways, let's fly over a baseball stadium. That plus this active construction site are the most dangerous parts of this track, so I'll give Los Angeles Laps a 7.1 out of 10. On to Sunset Wilds now, and it looks like we've got a nice flat, completely walled in track, so it's looking pretty good so far. Ooh, okay, we got some safety cones too in front of this puddle. I like what I'm seeing here. Now, I'm curious about these dinosaur tracks too, but these archaeologists have got to be more aware of their surroundings. Overall though, this is a pretty safe track, 8.3 out of 10. Here we are at Koopa Cape, starting off with a not so safe jump here. I really like how they curved these red grates upward and then immediately decided to abandon that concept altogether. Let's avoid some pedestrians now and head to the water slide portion of this track. I do like the use of the black and yellow caution lines here. What I don't like is how my car is being carried down a rapid river. The combination of using water to try to drown me and also carry me away makes this a dangerous track. 4.6 out of 10. Over to Vancouver Velocity now, and I've heard great things about this city too, but I am not impressed by the safety of their bridges. This bridge is a little bit better, but where are these bats coming from? This bridge though is surprisingly safe. All right, now let's dangerously fly towards these very color coordinated buildings, then drive through an ice skating rink. I don't know what's going on in here, but it's giving me weird culty vibes, so I'm just gonna leave as quickly as possible. Vancouver Velocity is a pretty dangerous track, 5.1 out of 10. Next up is Rome Avanti. I don't know what Avanti means, but I just hope it has nothing to do with chain chomps. Uh-oh. Let's continue on for now past these unsafe edges and this big jump back to the ground. Now we do have some well-paved roads, good use of directional arrows and safety cones here. At the same time, we do have to drive up and down an unusual amount of staircases. And what's this? I appreciate the safety warning, I really do, but I would have preferred if they, I don't know, didn't make you drive past chain chomps? Maybe I was a little quick to judge. These appear to be herbivorous, perhaps even domesticated chain chomps. So with that in mind, I will be giving Rome Avanti a 7.7 out of 10. Okay, we made it to DK Mountain, and I hope this car has four-wheel drive because it looks like we've got a steep uphill ahead of us. There's some unsafe edges early on, and okay, here we go. I don't know what it is with Donkey Kong and blasting us out of cannons, but this has got to stop. So now that we've got an active volcano to worry about, let's begin our descent. Okay, don't try this at home, but I'm gonna test the structural integrity of this barrel here. Yep, just like I thought, not very good. Let's just, wait, what? Where did that replacement come from? I guess we've also got some kind of black magic to worry about. Also boulders. Let's just cross this very sturdy looking bridge and get out of here as quickly as possible. 2.2 out of 10. Onto Daisy Circuit, where there's some kind of celebration going on. Just gotta be careful that none of this confetti blocks our vision. Right away, I'm loving the use of these traffic cones here. In fact, they may have even gone a little overboard to the point where they're almost like obstacles. I would have liked to have seen some of those cones in front of these giant speed boosts, but there's still plenty of space to drive around these. Daisy Circuit is an incredibly safe track, 9.9 out of 10. All right, let's see if we can keep the good scores going with Piranha Plant Cove. I really wish these track designers would warn me when they're underwater. But yeah, most of this track is submerged, and when we're not underwater, we've got a bunch of piranha plants and unsafe jumps to look out for. But as if drowning wasn't enough of a concern, there's also aquatic thwomps and very bitey eels. This is a very unsafe track. 2.5 out of 10. Over to Madrid Drive now, and this has nothing to do with safety, but I'm pretty sure this isn't Spanish. So far, so good for Madrid. We've got a lot of nice restaurants to choose from, so many that I can overlook having to drive up these stairs. I can't overlook that though. Same goes for these piranha plants a little bit later on, especially this one. Okay, we definitely can't be having this. Defecation of an official safety sign? Madrid, I'm disappointed in you, come on. Now we're entering a market with some more disturbingly large vegetables. Okay, how are you so unfazed by this giant thwomp next to you? After a flying jump over some water and having to drive through a soccer field, I've determined that Madrid is a beautiful place where you can get very badly injured at any moment. 4.9 out of 10. Next up is Rosalina's Ice World. I'm not sure why she decided to claim this pretty barren, icy land with very unsafe edges, but to each their own. All right, looks like we've got a stalagmite and or stalactite situation here. I always forget which one is which. But regardless, this is definitely not safe to drive under. Now let's just jump into this freezing cold ice water. If I didn't know any better, I'd think that Rosalina might be trying to kill us. 4.3 out of 10. Okay, SNES Bowser's Castle 3, the first and only Bowser track in the Booster Course Pass. I was hoping there would be 0, but here we are. As you can see, we've got a classic case of there's lava and fire everywhere. And I mean pretty much everywhere. Oh wait, what's this? Wow, thank you so much for these traffic codes. I feel so safe now. Anyways, let's continue on. We'll get past these bony piranha plants, and I'm gonna give Bowser's Castle 3 a... All right, I have made it to the afterlife. I mean, Wii Rainbow Road. Besides the whole being in outer space thing, this track is dangerous in other ways. First of all, there's a severe lack of guardrails. At any point, we could easily free fall and go crashing back down to Earth. There's also dangerous speed boosts everywhere, making it incredibly difficult to regulate our speed around these unsafe edges. If there's one thing I hope you can take away from these safety inspections, is that under no circumstance should you ever take your car into outer space. 1.8 out of 10. And for the final results, here's every Mario Kart 8 DLC track ranked from most dangerous to most safe. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy these kinds of videos, it would mean a lot if you subscribed. And if you'd like to support me further, you can find a link to my Patreon either on screen or in the description. Any support there would be greatly appreciated, and it'll just help me continue to make these videos consistently moving forward. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.